Script started. Dependencies loaded. Booting Series 13 of the Year of Shame Challenge. Please wait.
Hello and welcome to Season 13 of the Year of Shame Challenge. We're back again for 2025 to hopefully give some entertainment and, share some sacrifices with you in our gaming lives. My name's Ben Bowles and I am joined this year with Brian Reilly. Say hi, Brian.
Hello, how are things?
All good indeed. And Paul Wilson, say hi.
Hello there, howdy.
Right, so it's the Triforce here from the three of us this year. Going to give it our best shot. What we're going to do is go around, talk a bit about ourselves on this episode 0, and prepare you for what hopefully will be some more information, take on your questions as in the time-honoured fashion, for episode 1 at the end of January, all being well. I'll start off for myself. Bit of an intro on me. My name's Ben. I live over in Oxfordshire in the UK. I am a product manager. I absolutely love games. I've been gaming since the early years of my life. So around 6, 7. I always had kind of machines all the way up from, if you understand what they are, my Philips G7000, an old, very, very, very basic console from the early years. Spectrums, Mega Drives, PlayStations. I've probably owned a lot of them going through that. So a lot of ages and a lot of years of gaming from my part. On to you, Paul. What about yourself? I mean, what's your history from gaming as well?
Yeah, pretty similar, really. Suppose mine kind of really began in the arcades, probably back in the 70s. Space Invaders, Star Wars Arcade, the little sit-down 3D vector one, and then, kind of longed for some kind of video game system, but they were just so expensive, such as the Atari VCS 2600. I mean, some of those cartridges, I believe, back in the day, if my memory serves me correctly, were probably in their money then, probably about £25-30 a cartridge, which maybe in today's terms might have been, like £100 a cartridge or something.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, so it had been a very expensive thing. And then, typically the sort of TV video game came around and they became really sort of cheap. And like the tennis games, just back and forth with the bat and ball. And then thankfully onto the ZX Spectrum, which I think was a wonderful device, really, bringing computers to the absolute masses at an affordable price. Old Sir Clive Sinclair. And then on to the rest of it, really. After the Spectrum, I got an Atari 800 XL with a disk drive, which was quite amazing. There were a big deal on at Dixon's at the time, which is now Curry's. I think it was about £130 for the whole system, which was fantastic. And then onwards, really. From there, I think it went to like Amiga. I had a C64 for a bit, and I went to the Amiga, and then Amiga, really, probably onto PC and such like. But probably around about the time of getting into PC, that's when I started working a bit more with computers, I'd been buying and selling computers and video games since probably 1995, and that's what I do for a living as well. So I see a lot of things at a reasonable price, a lot of graphics cards and such like pass through my hands. So, but yeah, love gaming. Got way too many games. I'd say it's definitely some form of addiction. But one thing I will say, I don't drink and I don't smoke. So it's not a bad addiction. There's a lot worse out there to be had. So I'll pass you over to Brian. Let us know a bit more about you.
Well, I'm Irish, as you may pick up from the accent. The accent will get weaker over the 12 months. I'm currently back in Ireland, so it's been refreshed. I started gaming a long time ago. My father brought home a Pong console. We started playing that. My brother and sister eventually joined me playing that. And we stopped playing for a while. Then my cousins picked up a Commodore 64, and we sort of got interested in that. The dad then came home with an Amstrad, which he thought would play Commodore 64 games. It didn't. But we, with friends in school, whatever, in uni, started swapping games. I moved from that to an Amiga, PlayStation. I gave sort of for that gaming for a while. Then a friend of mine showed me his PlayStation, and I fell in love with gaming again. Started on PlayStation, moved from that to a PC. After when I moved to England, went to PC gaming, so I gave up PlayStation altogether. Started focusing on building PCs and tweaking them, overclocking, whatever. And my brother years later got me onto the PlayStation 3 to start playing COD with him. So I started getting into online gaming with him. And I've been playing PC, PlayStation ever since. When I left, I moved from England to Japan 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. I gave away my PC, so I've been solely basically PlayStation gaming on PlayStation 5. I still love it. I don't know, it's a hobby that's been going on for years, and I don't think I'll ever give it up. It feels weird when you meet somebody new, you start saying, I'm game, and they just look at you like, is it not a children's thing? But I've been playing for so long now, I don't think I could ever give it up. Well, that's basically a short history. I've missed probably loads, but hopefully it made sense.
Thanks. I think we can all probably agree because of the money we spend, the time we spend on it. It's not just for kids. I've got kids; they absolutely love it, but they don't get to hog the consoles to themselves at all. So that's not how it works, really, to be honest with you. So I mean, there's no little bit about each of us now. So I guess the first question for you guys is, we're starting as the start of the new year. How was Christmas? Did you get anything nice? Did you go in and throw loads of money in before the year exchange started? What the kind of were your activities on that, I suppose, really? From my perspective, I've tried to be as good as possible. I did my own personal sort of year exchange for 24 just to kind of see if I could hack it, to be honest with you, more than anything else, and did stick to the rules as much as possible. I got Tekken 8, I think, as I mentioned in the last episode from the other guys, from my brother for Christmas. That's kind of the major one that was purchased me outside of what would be a joker or of a gift. And I did sneak in Dark Forces Remaster because I love the original from the old PC days, from like DOS and everything, for Steam, which I've kind of got before the end of the year because I got it for like a couple of pounds. That was pretty much my gaming Christmas. My wife was very good and kind of avoided gaming at all costs, to not make me feel so bad about trying to do it. So, and helping out with me trying to start this year. So, yeah, I mean, as far as that those sort of things goes, it was a quiet Christmas for gaming for me, which is a big change, a very big change. Normally, there's normally a big stack of games. So that's kind of, it's been good, but it's been very, very quiet on the console front. What about yourself, Paul? Go and grab anything?
Yeah, I managed to buy a few, really. Overcompensating, because my stack of games that I generally do already have on my pile of shame are mainly sort of quite large JRPGs or big RPGs, which have got multiple hours in. And if I probably just added up, maybe say 10 of the average completion hours on probably 10 of those games, it'd probably take me more than a year to finish them. But then I've added to the stack as well. I bought Rise of Ronin, the Black Myth Wukong, and a few others as well. But my stack here is already like stupidly big, really. But yeah, I intend to try to do as much of one game as possible rather than flit around, because I'm not going to buy any games this year. I'll be able to focus on a game rather than looking forward to the next game that's coming out in, say, another 3 weeks' time. So I just keep on that steady track of one game. I've actually gone back to a game from 2021, which is Tales of Arise. I looked at my original save, and I'd managed 10 hours on it, and I've put in a further 8 hours over the Christmas period, and I've really enjoyed it. And also I've been putting games on easy mode instead. I enjoy the exploration, the exploring of the levels, and maybe walking over some of these baddies in these games, simply because I don't want to go back and repeat the same thing 5 or 6 times, and just becoming frustrated. If you put it on easy mode, go in. And a lot of these games as well, that Tales of Arise, the average completion time is still 50 hours. I completed Stellar Blade last year on easy mode, and that still took me 50 hours. So even easy mode, it's still a long game. If I'd have put that on something like a normal mode or something, I may have made me not have even completed it because I'd have got so frustrated with it. So, but yeah, But other than that, yeah, it's been a good Christmas. I'm going to take a few weeks off now because I've been working up and over Christmas because I buy and sell things. So I'm still selling things over Christmas, and I probably did my last post out a few days ago. So now it's time to relax. So, but yeah. Yeah, so what have you been up to, Brian? Have you had a nice Christmas?
I did Christmas in Japan, so we had the traditional Christmas meal of Kentucky Fried Chicken for Christmas dinner, and
Very
then
nice.
St. Stephen's Day, or Boxing Day as you call it, I flew to Ireland and I've done New Year's over here. I didn't pick up any games for Christmas at all. I did have a lot just before the end of the year, pick up a few games, nice small games. Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk,
Wow.
and I was halfway through Elden Ring. The disk drive on my PlayStation broke. I had the physical copy, so I bought the digital version. I do love the game. I think I've got 200 hours in the game. I'm only halfway through. It's like, as you were saying, that the exploration. I love the game, just exploring the game. I do agree with putting things onto easy mode, but Elden Ring doesn't have one. The other game I'm trying to finish at the moment is Eternal. Again, no easy mode. And I'm hundreds of hours into that game. I'm only halfway through it because according to these games, I'm shit at gaming, which is probably true. But I need to improve. But Christmas has been quite good. It's been nice being back in Ireland, catching up with everybody. But I've done no gaming at all, so I can't wait. Well, I'll have to wait till I get back to Japan to pick anything up to go gaming with. There's nothing much else happening here. I'll fly back in a couple of days' time. And we'll start gaming. Hopefully, we'll see the numbers increasing, or the games being knocked off the list. Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, no, that's about it for me, I think. Yeah.
I think something about Returnal, I think one of the guys did that last year, and I think it was a real love-hate relationship with that game, and it took them months to get through it. So, I mean, I'm not brave enough to take that sort of game on, to be honest with you. I have to admit, I'm kind of more of a shorter game sort of thing. But I mean, apparently it's incredible. I mean, you said yourself you're enjoying it, and I think they really did, as much of giving them a serious hard time. Getting through it was a real thing for them.
Yeah, it's a really bit of a trial. I think it's Rich was playing it last week.
Yeah.
I listened to the logbook guys. They're doing it on one of their challenges as well. And Stu has dropped off us, but he really needs to get into it. It is a really good game. It is slightly masochistic because you're just being beaten the whole time, but it is really, really enjoyable. But yeah, it's a very good game. I would recommend it if you have it on your backlog.
I did manage to do an easy mode on Elden Rings. I went onto eBay and bought a load of souls, or the equivalent of souls, whatever they are, so you can level up. I think it cost me about £5 for about 10 million souls or something. And so you can still die really easily, but you can be, like 10 levels above where you should be. It's still not easy, but it makes it more I found it a bit more enjoyable. It took out the frustration because them games, there's so much hard work has been put into those games by them developers, and so many people will not see the amazingness, without an easy mode, really. So
yeah, I totally agree
that's
with you.
what I did. Yeah, that's what I did, and I've enjoyed it more as well because I feel as if I'd rather be 10 levels over and have a chance as opposed to being on par with them guys because they just wipe me out every time.
I've had Elden Ring sat in a pile of games underneath the PS5. Well, actually, it was underneath the PS4, to be honest with you. That's the version I had. And I've looked at it and thought, I should start that. I'm not brave enough. I should start that. No, not brave enough. And then we got the PS5 and I put the disc in and thought, I'm going to install it. And then it started tormenting me saying, you can have a PlayStation 5 version of it now as well. And I'm like, okay. So I still haven't been brave enough. It's still sat there. I see other people playing it and just see the distress it can cause people. I mean, it's great to hear. It's awesome from both of you guys, but I think more than anything else would be the time putting into it. I think more than anything else, hundreds of hours. I just don't think I'd be able to do it. I'd end up getting lost like I did on Mass Effect, to be quite honest with you, and then just walking around the planet for like 2 hours.
Speaking of Mass Effect, I have that on my list to try and do today. Not today. Today's today to do this year. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and just I don't know. Hopefully, I get through some of these games. I've got a lot of shorter ones as well, but I need to clear some of the bigger games this year. So hopefully,
Yeah, I think it's decent to try and have like a nice sort of selection. Well, the way I've looked at it is try and give yourself a selection so you've got some quick fire ones. You can kind of relax and play, I suppose, really. So if you do start playing something big like Elden Ring and it starts completely cleaning you out and just wearing you down, you can go and step away from it for a little bit and do something else and then come back to it. So you don't lose the love for it, I suppose. I mean, I know I'm going to find that with bigger games. I've got Ghost of Tsushima and Horizon. I think it was the first one. What's the first one called? Not Forbidden West. The second one, isn't it?
Yeah, Horizon. This is where I'm terrible. Yeah.
Zero Dawn remaster. So the PlayStation offered me the free upgrade for that when we got the 5, but I had the other one from PlayStation Plus. It's like, right, I've got to crack on with that. But it's kind of looking at the time more than anything else. And I've got 2 young kids in the house, so I can't run around shooting stuff every 5 seconds when they're downstairs either. So I've got to be sensible about it.
Yeah, this is the problem as well. It's like often I will long to play a game, and generally from about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening, I have the option to play a game for maybe a couple of hours. But my brain is like at that point just too tired. I've longed to do it all day, but then my brain's too tired to like put a game on and begin a game. So I end up watching YouTube or something else, which is often about gaming instead. So yeah, it can be it's a massive challenge. The body, well, the mind is willing to, or the body and the mind is willing to some degree, but you're just mentally too tired sometimes just to crack on with it. Because I like to really binge a game if I can. I mean, if I started a game perhaps at say 9 o'clock in the evening, I'm probably going to get to 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then I'm thinking, oh, I should really be turning this off now. Oh, just another 20 minutes. Before you know it, it's 2 o'clock, you go to bed. You know, you're out of sync for the rest of the day. Well, the older you get, I mean, it's easy when you're like, 12 or 13, you stay up all night in your ZX Spectrum, and then go to school the next day or do whatever you're going to do. No big deal. But when you get to this sort of age, you're generally sort of finding that can throw you out for a week,
True.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think what I've been sort of doing over the holidays is sitting playing sort of those short sort of games. And I know we discussed earlier on about Steam Decks and stuff like that, so I picked one up last year, and just to do kind of low key games, sort of lay in bed and play on something for half an hour, something that's not like a big drop of time kind of thing, is a nice thing to do. So I think that's probably going to assist me a lot this year of doing that. But I can do just those games, pick it up, start playing it, put the console in standby, and then just pick it up the next day, sort of thing. And there's no pressure behind it. So I think that's going to be a big thing. So so I suppose kind of we should be talking about how we're gonna deal with this year and deal with 12 months of not purchasing games. We've all said how much we love them and the stuff we want to play, and this that we got to sit and watch them all go by for the next 12 months, which will be painful, I think, to be honest with you. But I think we'll pull it off, if you to be honest. But there's going to be a couple of stuff that comes out this year. I think it's going to cause big problems with me walking past shops and stuff and seeing them. So I don't know who wants to start on this. Brian, do you want to give us sort of a game plan you've got for this year?
Well, I don't want to throw shade on the guys from last year, but they had an easy year. As far as I'm concerned, there wasn't that many games that I was interested in last year. They had a much easier year than we have. I'm really worried about this year coming up. But games I want to clear, like Mass Effect, Elden Ring, Witcher, Baldur's Gate, Cyberpunk. I've already added up the total of the number of hours from was it How Long to Beat? I have over 1,000 hours I want to clear. Usually How Long to Beat is, I take twice as long as it says normally. So it's going to take me ages to clear through these games. I'm going to be missing quite a few games. So you mentioned Ghost of Tsushima. I love that game. It's one of the few games I've actually platinumed. I did the same thing with the DLC. It's a brilliant game. I loved it. And they've got the new version coming out this year.
Yeah.
I hope it's not coming out this year. I really do. But yeah, apparently it's coming out. But yeah, I don't know. I won't be looking at. I'm still getting emails. They're all coming through today. Best games of 2025. I just want to tear my hair out. I'm looking forward to clearing some of the longer games. Because you've got some of the games are coming out. What you call it? I'm now looking through the list. Where is it? It's Stranding. That's a game I want to complete. And they've got the follow-up coming out this year.
Okay.
There's a couple of games I want to clear this year, so I can, in 2026, they'll be there for me. I'll have them on. I'll start picking them up and start playing them then. Yeah, because otherwise it'll just sit in my backlog forever and I'll never get to play either of the games.
I think that's kind of been a half decent way to sort of look, is if you've got ones that are on there, something's coming out, just sort of like, right, top of the list, you're getting done this year. Because realistically, I can kind of honour myself with having it next year then for the second one. I'm allowed to have it at that point because you've done it. So,
yeah. I've earned it. I've earned the right to play this game. Yeah, I can tell myself that. Paul, how about you?
Yeah, Death Stranding, definitely. I mean, but I'm not sure how far you are through that game. I don't know, maybe on chapter 3 or something. Fantastic game. It's one of those games you really do have to dedicate your time to, in the respect of it's one you can't just put on for 10 minutes. Even if you go back to it after, like, say, not playing it for a few months, just getting back into the controls, and it can be dizzying almost, them controls. You press a certain button and another, all these menus pop up and all the sound effects in the background. It can be a bit, but it's a stunning game, and an amazing concept for sure. And definitely, I'm definitely going to be playing that more. But typically, I find sometimes some of the big games, it's like Death Stranding, I started playing it on PC, and then I got it on PlayStation, and then I continued playing it on PC because it was 60 frames per second, because the original PS4 version was 30 frames per second. And then they re-released it and made it 60 frames per second. I think it might have been on my Pro at the time. I had a PS4 Pro, and it was 60 frames. So then I kind of restarted it because it's more convenient to be sat in front of the TV to be doing the gaming rather than sat upstairs at the desk, etc. So I have played it. I've probably played double the amount of time, but I'm still at the same point. I am on both versions of the game, on PC and on PlayStation. And I did that same with Persona as well, because they brought out Persona 5, and then they brought out the Royal Edition, and you couldn't even take your save across from Persona 5, which had already put in about 30 hours, into Persona 5 Royale, which had the extended parts in there, yeah? So that's one of my pet hates. I generally hate restarting a game. If I lost my save on a game, I'd be, I don't know, I'd be very, very reluctant to restart it. I hate going back on a game and restarting it all over again. But yeah, but what I'm going to try to do is just try to focus on a game. And I was thinking as well, the amount of time I sometimes spend watching other people playing games on YouTube or watching the reviews on YouTube, I'm very keen. I'm very up to date with all that kind of thing. I might try and say to myself, well, look, play a game instead, because I could probably knock out maybe at least an hour or two, each day, basically, just based on YouTube and watching YouTubes and reviews and all the rest of it. And plus, as well, if you don't watch the YouTube reviews, which I will watch, I know I will watch, you're not going to kind of get like the longingness to want to play those new games. I mean, they're all going to come. They're all going to be there next year. I mean, I don't think there's very many games that have totally disappeared off of the landscape that you can no longer buy, that are kind of like considered as, must-have classics. I know they've been taken off certain digital libraries, or you can't buy them no more. But I think most of those games, they've probably passed me by in any case. So, but there's so many good new games coming out, like Brian was saying, next year. But there again, perhaps some of those games I think might get pushed back a little bit further into 2026, just because of all these job losses in the industry. Budget cuts. Things might get pushed back into 2026. But yeah, there is a massive. I mean, I don't think there's actually ever really been a bad year since I've had a ZX Spectrum of games. Never really been a bad year where there hasn't been a number of quality games come out. So there's always going to be, I think every year, I mean, like last year, really, I mean, Stellar Blade, if you haven't played Stellar Blade, that's a fantastic game. I mean, it's like Elden Rings, you know, the Resident Evil 4 remake. I rebought that recently because I bought a VR2 for the PlayStation, and I thought I'll replay that. So I've even actually got some games that I've rebought, which I've already completed, so I can play them in VR as well. So
Yeah,
it's crazy, really.
the VR looks great, it really does. But like things like Resident Evil, I just can't play stuff like that. I'm just I'm scared of horror games.
It's a different level, honestly. You put that on, and it really is. I mean, when I first played, I got the original VR unit, and one of the games I played was Skyrim. Skyrim, and I tell you what, that was the first game I played in VR, and it was amazing because when you moved your head around, you know what I mean, you really looked around in that world. And if I hadn't have already played Skyrim, like probably most of us, numerous times or spent a lot of hours on it in the past, well, then that would have been a game I would have played from beginning to end because it really felt like a true adventure with that helmet on, you know. And it isn't on rails. You just, well, as you know, Skyrim, you can wander around wherever you like, do whatever you like, and yeah, it was absolutely fantastic.
Awesome, cool.
The scary games, I like yourself, Ben, they're not for me. I tried them. I did complete Alien Isolation this year, so I'm really fucking proud that I did it. But
I'm proud of you, Matt, to
traumatized
be honest with you.
I was freaking out playing that game, so not good.
That's terrifying. When that first was announced, I went to a show in Birmingham, I think it was, and they had a setup for isolation, and they'd effectively built like a pitch black, like cubed building, and it was all like spinning lights inside of it, and you played it in the pitch black in what effectively was a space station with a headset on, and it just terrified me. That was it. That was me just completely finished on that game. I think I played 10 minutes of it, got absolutely murdered pretty instantaneously, and then just like left. You okay with that? No, I didn't enjoy it. So and that was enough. Just like I'm not going back to that again. So
I can't imagine doing those games in VR. That'd be just. I think you'd have heart problems at the end of it. So I don't know how you do it.
harrowing stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not brave enough for it. I have to admit, my plan for this year is going to be pretty much. I don't know. Well, you've heard from the previous year the discussion in there. I do have about 1,200 games sat in my Steam library alone, from my previously embarrassing years of just purchasing random games and charity packages and all this kind of stuff. So I've just found so much stuff I need to try and get through on different genres. To be honest with you, I mean, either you heard of a game called Figment? Came out years ago as a little indie game. It's to do with mental health, I think, actually, from memory. You're inside this guy's mind, and it's a little adventure game. I'm playing through it at the moment. It's an obscure little thing, and obviously it's meant to be inside a troubled mind kind of thing. But it's just a really good little adventure game. I'm really enjoying stuff like that at the moment. I completed Stray just before Christmas. That was great, really, really good. You wouldn't think a cat simulator would be decent, but it really was. It was pretty cool. I mean, well, the stuff in the house I'm sort of playing through now. At the start of the year, I've completed Astro's Playroom, which, granted, it's a tech demo that came with a PS5, but it's been so much fun. You consider like 5 or 6 hours for a game when it comes out. That's Call of Duty single player in a few of the games. So I mean, it's not that terrible really. So I've finished that one already. And sort of it's RPG type stuff, but a little bit, I suppose, a bit more low key than kind of Baldur's Gate. I keep looking at Baldur's Gate 3 and thinking my wife and I should play that because we do like RPGs. But we've just finished, I think it's Dark Alliance it's called, which was on the original Xbox years ago, one of the old school Baldur's Gate games. We finished that literally last night, topped that off. That's a really cracking game. I remember us playing through it years ago on my original Xbox, and they remastered it a couple of years back, I think it was. So I think my battle plan for this year is to go for games like that I can enjoy and get through them in 10, 12 hours kind of thing, but also have those biggies in the background as well. So I said like Ghost of Tsushima, I definitely want to do. I'm thinking I'm probably about like 35 minutes into it. I mean, you can now see my PlayStation. You'll see the play time creeping up on that over the next few months of me having a go at it. But but there's so many formats trying for me to tack on really. So I've got an Xbox, PlayStation, the Switch, and the PC. So there's 4 layers of embarrassment and how many games I have 4 platforms, to be honest with you. Yeah, you'll probably see it across a multitude, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. For as much as it is kind of a year of shame, I enjoyed doing it last year, and I'm kind of looking forward to doing it this year. And say, kind of, I think it's going to be the experiences, as you mentioned earlier on, both of you getting through some new stuff and kind of going on those adventures, and it's forcing me to go and do it on the stuff I already own. So I've had the Space Marine game probably sat in my collection for 3-4 years, to the point where I hadn't played it, and they brought an anniversary edition out on top of it to finish it off now as well. So, and I'm now going to do that. So if I can get that finished this year, then that'll kind of allow me on midnight 01 on the 1st of January next year to just literally just go and buy Space Marine 2 digitally and download it straight away and play it. So I think that's what my game plan's going to be. Look at the stuff I've got, tack it all up with kind of things that there are sequels for that I keep looking at thinking, oh, that'd be nice. Maybe it'll even save me some money if I don't enjoy the first game. I don't go and waste the money on the second one, maybe. That'll be a first for me. But yeah, I mean, it should be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to doing it. So I mean, getting a few quick ones under my belt at the start of the year has definitely helped. I feel like I'm going to try and get somewhere. I feel a little bit like I've cheated against you boys, sorry. But it's just the way it sort of sat playing Astro's Playroom with the kids for like 3 hours, and it suddenly went, bing, you've completed it. And it was like, oh, okay, whoops. That's good. Excellent, of course. I did, however, go and look how much the original full Astro game is straight afterwards, though, which was a concern. And think, no, you can't. You've got to leave that. Can't go and buy that straight away now. That's not good. Don't spend your Joker on that. So
1st of January.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, luckily the game was completed yesterday. 4 days out at least, but I mean that's still pretty depressing if you went and did that. So yeah, so I think kind of looking at sort of a game plan on top of that as well. I know we've got Joker and the gift kind of is what's always been the standards you can slightly break the walls with on the Year of Shame. I'm going to try and put in place for myself that I'm not going to touch them until at least we're 6 months in. I think it's probably a good idea. So that forces me to play the stuff I've got and get on with it, and maybe set a completion limit for myself as well, that I've got to hit, like I've got to complete like 10 games before I go and spend them. I mean, okay, if you can make the small games, but I mean, at least if it's 10, it's 10 off the list. Immediately, that's like kind of throwing a ping pong ball off a cliff sort of situation as far as the damage goes, but of clearing the pile. But I think that's a good shout to try and like limit myself a little bit so I don't go crazy and spend those 2 and end up not completing anything. That would just be not good at all. So yeah, I think that's probably my tactics. Have you got any other sort of tactics you guys are looking at for it or not, or is it just a matter of just getting to the ones you said you're already playing, as you said earlier on?
I'm just going to try and do the ones I've got. Like I mentioned before, I'm not buying any new games this year, Jokers or whatever. I know this is a bit of a cheat code. I've got PlayStation Premium, which I'd already paid for.
Yeah.
So, but I don't intend to particularly use that for playing the new games that come to it. I'm probably more interested in looking at, say, like the demos, because I've just bought the PlayStation 5 Pro. So I've been into it for so long. I actually like to look at how the games have advanced. I like to look at the new graphics. I like to look at what's on offer, what's new, really. I think one of the games that you were talking about was the Space Marines game. Well, there's actually a 2-hour demo on there on PlayStation Premium. So probably that 2-hour demo will be enough to make me think, it won't tell me it'll tell me whether I like it or don't like it, but it will give me, how can you say, it'll give me a little taste. And sometimes to keep you on the straight and narrow, I suppose, like if you were giving up cigarettes or alcohol or anything, just a little taste every now and again can be enough to keep you on the straight and narrow, really. So a 2-hour demo of maybe one of the latest games that comes out, perhaps to do a 2-hour demo of some of the games that I'd really like to play, like the new Assassin's Creed game they're bringing out that's set in Japan. If there were a 2-hour demo of that, I would like to check out that 2-hour demo and see how it plays, really. That can be sometimes enough to, just a little taste. But I don't intend to start any more big games. It'd have to be a fantastically good game. But because I'm a tight-fisted Yorkshireman, I've got to kind of say to myself, well, I don't feel as if I've kind of wasted, because I could have just bought the PlayStation 5 Pro next year, really, because it's just going to sit there, not quite dormant, but the games that I've already have in my stack although they have enhanced some of them, obviously, but they're not going to enhance them pretty much anymore. It's not really going to sort of like be like, probably no doubt mid this year, there's going to be the, wow, you must play this. You should see the magic they've done with the PlayStation 5 Pro on this game. And that would be the one I'd really like to play, probably. So yeah, and also I'd already paid for the PlayStation Premium, which I bought like in November. So I was almost reluctant to do the Year of Shame just because I'd done them two things. I'd feel that was a waste of money. And one thing a Yorkshireman doesn't like to do, unfortunately, is waste his money. So although I will concentrate on my pile, but I'm not going to buy any more games. But so I am going to. Too many times I've gone back and played a game and thought to myself, why have you stopped playing this game? And technically speaking, the reason is because a new game has come out, and that's taken my focus away from it. So I'm going to enjoy. I think it's going to be quite refreshing to have a discipline in place that says, well, there's no point buying it. You can't buy it this year. Just focus and enjoy the games you've got. So many good games there to be enjoyed. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. It's kind of like 20 years in the making for me on that. So many good games to enjoy. Go and enjoy, or just go and buy some more and put them on the pile because the pile's pretty. I think that's the 2-hour thing would be for me. Is kind of like I'd start playing and go, "This is amazing," and just have 9 months of desperately trying not to buy it. That's anything I'm scared of doing.
It'd just be enough for me, I think. But generally speaking, as with most things in life, I've found, especially due to buying and selling things, a lot of the fun is actually in the wanting. And once you've got it, probably like yourself, you've got 1,200 games there. The little bit of buzz, the dopamine hit or whatever, with any addiction, the buying it and the pressing the button and clicking, it's yours. That's 9/10 of the fun sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah. What about with you, Brian? Do you sometimes buy them and then sit there forever?
Yeah, you've just nailed it. I have 600 and something games on PC on the backlog, and you just see them on sale. They won't be this price again. Buy them, and just don't get played. And it's oh my god, that's not good. I don't need to be psychoanalyzed this early in this, but yeah, I'm hoping. Currently, I'm playing Mass Effect 1 and Returnal, which is 2 long games. And both, I don't know, I'm going to stop Mass Effect at the moment, try and start playing some shorter games while I work on Returnal, and try one long game and one short game at the same time. Let's see if it works. I don't know if it will. Maybe I'll have to go to just a couple of short games to get them under my belt, and then go back to Returnal or something on Mass Effect. But I don't know. If anybody out there has any advice, I'll take it. Let me know. Because I've not. They should have a plan. They should be like the people who achieved the most. Should be right. Should be a plan of what they did, and then that should be passed along to us, so we know how to target this. But yeah, I have no idea.
Well, there's one other podcast I listen to. Well, I listen to numerous, but as probably all of you do as well. I mean, that's going to be another thing. Listening to other podcasts, listening to them talk about all these games, which has often been, which is there again another psychological hit. Really, you listen to these guys talk about the podcasting games that they've been playing and such like, and you think, oh, I've got that one to play. And you think, flipping it, that's another 50-hour game. Oh, I've got that one to play as well, and I've got this one to play. And before you know it, it does almost feel a little bit, it grinds you down, because then games, I really want to play them, but it almost makes it feel a little bit like work when you sometimes look at how many games you've got to play. So yeah. But one of the guys on the other podcast, it's a Pop Culture Gamer podcast, really good podcast, well worth listening to. And one of the main guys on there, Hayden, he pretty much doesn't sleep during the night, and that's how he does all his gaming, because he's an insomniac almost. That's the only way to do it. You have to have a double life, really. I mean, yeah, to be able to play all them games. I mean, as you know, I mean, none of us are young anymore, and there's other things that get in the way of gaming, So, yeah, it's difficult. It's like I was going to mention about, you were saying about playing your Steam Deck in the bedroom. The problem can be with that is I find the Steam Deck, the buttons can be a bit clacky. So it depends how happy your other half is with regards to the click.
I have been told off for that. Yeah, it's fine.
Yes. So sometimes you got to pick a game that's bedroom friendly, maybe like a Balatro or something where you maybe might be able to play it touchscreen, So that's one game I fancied buying, but I played the 2-hour demo on PlayStation, and I was a bit like, although I do actually like a bit of poker, etc. And obviously it's got a bit of a pokerish theme, but that's just on the surface, and I just couldn't really get into it. It just wasn't for me. But card games, console or computer game card games are never really for me. Even the big ones, like in The Witcher 3, they've got the big card game in that, and I just never really got into it. It just passes me by them particular things. But some people have spent as much time playing the card game within Witcher 3 as playing Witcher 3.
Oh, I get flashbacks from that from Final Fantasy VII. Is it the Golden Source or whatever it was on that? The big sort of theme park halfway through the game. And there was some stupid basketball game in it. And I remember spending about like 5 hours or 2 of my friends just trying to get points on this basketball game in there. It's just like nothing at all to do with the story whatsoever. And you've just wasted 5 hours of your life on a bad basketball game. But, it's fine, obviously. That's what they intended when they spent millions of pounds making this game, right? And Chocobo racing.
I did that. Yeah. I've got, I don't know, I'm probably about 10% into Witcher 3 as well. Oh my God, I've got so many games. Gwent.
That's a quality game.
Gwent is the card game. I got to the point where I could play one game. I did not like it. Balatro, I bought on the phone just so I have it for the flight back, where I can play something on the plane going back. But I think you can finish that game, but there's no way I'm ever going to try to finish that game, because that's like thousands of hours or something, try and get to the end. But it's just something to keep my mind occupied while I fly. But, that's it. Okay.
Well, yeah, but that Balatro
without leaking on your head.
Yeah.
But it's meant to be an excellent travelling companion, Balatro. Perhaps, and the advantage of having it on your phone, that is, it's a massive game. So many people have spent multiple, hours on that. It has been a big surprise. It's one of them ones that pops up out of nowhere, isn't it? And it's taken everyone by storm. And those are the games that you kind of like don't see them coming, really, and those can sometimes be the very best ones.
No, completely so. There's no really hype. I hadn't heard about that at all till the guys started talking about it on last year's podcast, and they were just like obsessed with it. So, and it was that brilliant. I started looking at it thinking, I will be terrible at this. I probably won't want to play it, and it'll frustrate me. But I was still half tempted to pick it up simply because it was a cheap indie game as well. It's not a major release. It's just something you go and grab for under £10, I think. Steam sale.
Yep, I was tempted to add that to my pile of shame because, like you say, I think probably £6 or so on CD keys. And for £6, you think it's a why not? But there again, it would have potentially just been one of them games that I bought it just to have it, just in case I want to play it. The 2-hour demo perhaps wasn't enough. I don't know, but it didn't quite grab me. But there again, card games are never really my thing in any case.
No. Same with me, really. I'd say that's the problem with it. But I don't know. There's so many other games you can go and plow some time into. Kind of
absolutely.
You'll have dodged the bullet. Other than that, I'd have wasted about 300 hours into it and not done anything else. So that would have been the other option.
Yeah, it's purely for me for traveling. That's it. So I drive over, so I won't be playing any games doing that. We just podcast. Although I have 1 hour extra a month because I won't be listening to this podcast. So I have an hour to play games. An hour extra to play games a month. But you mentioned
creating this podcast, of course, as well. But
Paul, you mentioned being tired at the end of work and stuff. I was thinking, should we set up a support group for people who fall asleep with their controllers in their hand if they're trying to play games?
It does. It's a genuine thing. It does happen. You be all of a sudden it's like I'm just as bad when I go to the cinema because you relax and you probably have been working on tired all the time, and then you relax. And then your head starts nodding. Many films I've had a 10-minute nap in between, the loudest possible films as well. No problem, once your head starts nodding and the eyes start going, boom, you're gone. There's no stopping me. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
My record is falling asleep playing 4-player Overcooked, which is like one of the most stressful things you can do as a co-op game. It's like you're nearly like killing each other. Someone I fell asleep in the corner and just set the kitchen on fire. It's just like, oh, sorry everybody, sorry.
Oh no, because I've not played any. I've looked at Overcooked. It's way too stressful. That's just way too stressful. I'm not going to do that.
It's one of those games. It's bizarre. So my wife and I play it a lot. I think we have like done like all the achievements and platinumed it / gold achievements on the Xbox and got everything on Steam across like all those formats. We've just kept completing it. I know some people have like 2 games of it and then they're like threatening divorce with each other, but somehow we just seem to do really, really well on it. I have no idea how, but we seem to be a fairly decent team on that. So that's kind of our forte.
Yeah,
and we've got the kids involved on it now as well, 4-player. So that ends in tears sometimes, but it's good fun.
They'll grow up, yes, and they'll realise what you've been doing to them.
No, they want to play it. It's not my fault. I just embrace it, to be honest with you. So, I mean, wow, we come up to nearly an hour already. That's impressive for a first session. Well done, gents. Good. So, I mean, I'm not sure where else to go for this. I mean, we've done kind of our introductions and hopefully our Dr. Hopes and Dreams, but survival tactics for the next 12 months. Looking forward to doing it. It should sound like it's going to be good fun. It'll be interesting to see the games that you guys. To me, I'll be the one in the corner completing tiny games. We will be achieving things, is what it sounds like. But we'll see what happens. From my perspective, I think it's probably a good place to finish. Hopefully you've tuned in and we'll get a full episode and give you an update of where we are and try and take some questions as well for the end of the month when we get our first recording in place. Thank you very much indeed to both of you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, gents. See you soon. Take it easy.
Bye.
Right, see you. Bye.